Welcome back everyone to Credit and Conversation. We're continuing once more with our special Dublin Comic Con edition. These episodes have been recorded live at Dublin Comic Con, and joining us in this episode is Reese Hannigan. You may actually be familiar with Reese from our very first episode of Creator and Conversation, where we featured a roundup team of Irish comic creators. At the time, Reese was just about to announce and had just added in, I think, his audition piece for what would become Star Wars Bad Batch, which is the comic he's been working on with Dark Horse the past while. So Reese is just hinting at things to come, and now it's great to have him back to share his journey of what it's been like attending Dublin Comic Con in Artist Alley and now attending it as a guest and being embraced by the Star Wars fandom, and his experience working on Star Wars Bad Batch. So you'll learn that Reese is really an enthusiastic fellow when it comes towards comics. He's hungry for the opportunity and he has his eyes on a very glittering future ahead of him. So many thanks again to Reese for taking the time out live at Dublin Comic Con to join me in the TASQ art room, and over now to Reese in this special Dublin Comic Con edition of Creator in Conversation. Awesome. Hi Reese, how are you keeping?
How are you? Not too bad.
I'm at this stage of the game, I'm wrecked. About to fall asleep, could take a nap on the table. What time did you get down? Did you get down Friday, was it?
Yesterday was 3 or 5 before we got checked in and sat down. So yeah, it's been all go since, because we went out for food and drinks last night, so we haven't had a minute.
Oh, such a hard life. We were whining and dining, you know,
Champagne problems,
and then signing autographs the next day. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's nice. Can't complain about it one bit.
And so, this is your second time as a guest at DCC, is it?
Second time, yeah.
Second time, yeah. And how many DCCs have you been beforehand?
All of them.
All of them, yeah, you've been to
I've
everyone.
been every single year, either as like general mission, or I've done Artist Alley like 3 or 4 times before as well. Like, so I've either been at either the spring show or the summer show once a year since like 2014 or 15, whatever it was. Whatever the first one was. What's
your evolution? So were you out in Swords?
No.
Yeah.
The first one a year in the centre anyway.
Oh, the first one, yeah. The Swords one was insane. It's like a giant shed just by the airport, and no one can get access to it. Like, everyone driving the town off is crazy. They're going back for the horror show.
Oh yes, I know the place they're doing.
So that's it. So if you want that full experience, you can go back and check it out. And so since being starting off in Artist Alley, so you went as a punter, then Artist Alley. Now you're here as a guest and a pro. What's the evolution been like? Have you been implementing stuff that you've observed while you were attending, or is it just something completely different experience for you?
So I've always wanted to be a comic book artist. So every time I've went to the con, I've always been observing how, the small Artist Alley that it was when I first went, and seeing how people were displaying their work, and just seeing how the pros are that came, and always kind of just in the back of my mind thinking, what would I do, or take note of what that person done. And then as time went on, I felt confident enough in myself and whatever art I had at the time to show it to people. So that was like a second lap around, where I was going around trying to find like advice from other artists and stuff, and trying to break into comics. And then I think it was like 2017, Chris Royale from IDW came, and I felt like I had a decent portfolio for the time it was. For the age I was, it was a decent enough portfolio. No, it was nowhere near ready for anything, but it was the start of something. So I was showing that to Chris and got some good advice. And that was my first time like speaking to an American company. So that was kind of the first experience with comic book, the culture that isn't just showing your work to somebody. And then I started doing some indie comics for Back Pocket Comics. That's an Irish publisher. And I came then to 2019. I did my first Artist Alley here. And that was an experience in itself, trying to see how to do it. I was young enough to do that. So seeing how little I had on my desk versus what everyone else had. And
when you say little, was it quantity, or was it just the selection of
everything?
Items?
So, I had enough prints to do the weekend, but I didn't have any comic books to sell. I didn't have anything that I would have on my desk now. I had a few prints, and I was doing too many commissions for too little of money to make it make sense. But again, I was eager and young to do something, so I was glad to be there doing something. And then I'd come back after COVID kind of happened. Then I came back and I would just go to the con as an exhibitor. And
did you take the COVID period of lockdown and everything just to hone more? And
I did at the start, but then I think that I was just spent so much time inside, I didn't care about art or comics for a while. Like I kind of decided to go out and enjoy my life for a bit because I was doing it from such a young age. So I took a couple of years where I just felt very uninspired and I wasn't doing much work. And then it was around when Danny Earls broke in that lit a fire under me again to go back and kind of pursue it as a job again. I think it's impossible seeing somebody else do it.
It's like a rule of two I've been noticing this one is that because Rafa was similar, I think, I forget who it was, but when one person breaks, I think it was Danny again, maybe. I think it was Danny. When Danny broke in, seemed to have lit a second wave because in the comic scene, I think Shalvey, Mooney, Sliney, they all kind of came at the same time. And then and then that was the first that led to like Kerry and Trina and stuff and all. And then Danny seems to have been the second age. Then,
credit to credit's due. Kevin Keane probably first, really, like because Kevin's the guy I met Kevin on like one of the earlier 2018 Comic Con. I had a portfolio review of him. We've been friends ever since. So, Kevin getting Spawn and then Danny getting his success. I was like, these are two guys I've known for years and they're doing it. So why can't it not be me?
Is Kevin still around in Ireland these days? I see based in the States.
He's still in Ireland. He's still in Cork, I think. But whenever them boys were like, doing covers and stuff, I just started working harder and I was like, I've never drew pages that I always felt like I put 100% into. I always felt like I drew until it was like 80% done and I said, let's call it a day, this will do. And I did like a portfolio then for Thought Bubble. And it was like Daredevil pages that were probably punching above the weight I'd ever done before art wise. And when I took it there, the reviews and responses I got were better than I expected. And people were kind of leading me like, you keep at this and you're very close to working on comics. And about 8 or 9 months later, here I am. I got offered Dark Horse then after that because I kept the momentum going and that inspired me to keep going and get better again. And I got a good few more mentors like Rory Coleman and stuff. So the work got better. I felt more confident in myself. And then the professional work came from then.
And how did the dialogue with Dark Horse begin then? Was it you did a review with them and then followed up?
No. So literally it was a year ago now at this con. I got a new con banner for Artist Alley. It was a Moon Knight banner. And I posted a picture of it online. And Spencer, my editor at Dark Horse, reached out to me and said, I really like your stuff. Would you mind doing some sample pages or some sample stuff for Star Wars? And you don't really think that that's going to lead anywhere. You're like, yeah, whatever, like I'll do them, but whatever happens, happens. And then like I was sitting, you had the panel here last year and I was sitting in the front row of that panel, went home, did some samples and got the job. So I've been at it ever since then.
And what's the social media aspect like for you? Because this is something that I think it's been the recurring thread in today's conversations anyway. With speaking to Ryan North, and he was saying how his experience in web comics and digital comics, but it's a completely different beast now because the internet's a different internet. He started like 03, now it's different beast entirely. And then David and a few others were just talking about, the online presence and I think Rafa as well, it's a job. So you have to be your own social media manager and post. So when you were posting that picture of your banner, was that something that you just did as like standard operating procedure every show and it just happened at that point?
Not really standard operation procedure, but again, it's nice to post something on a frequent basis online. Just you're alive, show people you're alive, show them what you're doing. So like right now I post a lot online and at that point I was just kind of getting into the flow of that. But I kind of started on social media at a time where it was harder to get a follow. And I remember in like 2014 and 2015, anybody who kind of was doing comic book art kind of got on the Discover page. It was when Instagram's algorithm was great. And they would all get like 20,000 followers in their first year on Instagram and stuff. But by the time I got to doing that was gone. Yeah. So like it was a hard struggle from 100 to 500. And then it was a hard struggle from 500 to 1,000. And then the Star Wars community is massive. They just took to me like a duck to water, and it's just been going ever since now. Like Twitter and Instagram's been going well. So you feel like because you're getting such a good response online, it encourages you, incentivizes you to post more. And it's not a lot of work because you're doing the drawing every day anyway. It's not too big a deal to post a photo at the end of the day and go to bed and forget about it. Like, and then America's liking it, and you wake up in the morning, you see what responses you get then. Like, so it's not that hard. I don't find it that hard to do.
Are you doing
media.
live streams or anything? Yeah.
I started dabbling in the live streams now. I haven't got the way I wanted yet. I've done 2 or 3, but I try and do a bit more live art streams because the video content's pretty cool too. Like,
yeah, that seems to get the most traction. I remember when I started out in business, social media, like if you don't have an image, you might as well not post anything. Text doesn't work. Now it's like if you haven't got a video, it's not because it's the moving image. It's all because of the scroll. I remember, particularly like Facebook. I know that's kind of obsolete now, but as you scrolled, the video didn't play. Like autoplay wasn't a thing. Now it absolutely is the first 3 seconds. Were you always a big Star Wars fan before working on the property, or was it just something that you were kind of like you would go see a film and you would enjoy?
No, we were Star Wars fans growing up. Like, we would have been a big fan of, like, our uncle would have given us the like complete saga at that point when there was only 6 movies, and we would have watched those kind of constantly. And the TASQ Clone Wars show was a big influence. I remember watching that over and over again, even like years after it came out. So like, I kind of grew up in that era where the Clone Wars came out. Even the live or the Clone Wars show we have now kind of came out around then. So I was always informed by it. Like, we were making clone helmets and stuff growing up, and lightsabers and stuff. So it was always a part of childhood. But like, boys of our age were into everything, like all superhero stuff. All like, it was just all the one thing. Like the Transformers superheroes. It's just like, stuff that every kind of boy gets into at one part in his life. So like, obviously I kind of come and go. Like, I kind of fell away from Star Wars for a long time when all the sequel trilogy stuff came out, and then I kind of fell in love with it again when The Mandalorian came out. But it wasn't like ever something I was actively pursuing. I never really thought about Star Wars as a job. I never thought I'd be an artist that Lucasfilm or Star Wars would be looking for. I always thought I'd be more of a superhero artist. So like, I didn't expect it, but when it came, I wasn't going to deny it. And I think the Bad Batch is the perfect one to give me. Like, it suits the sensibilities of the art I like to do. So I understand why I would be doing that and not a Jedi book, because it wouldn't gel right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And what's the situation with, like, you mentioned as a Lucasfilm artist, so I know Lucasfilm, Marvel, all owned by Disney, but this book's with Dark Horse then. So is it they license it out a different way? Is it? Yeah.
So they've split their line into 2 different options. So Marvel do the mainline Star Wars books, which will tell more Luke Skywalker. It seems to be quite the sequel trilogy based stuff, or the middle, like episode 4, 5, 6 stuff. Dark Horse are doing the all ages books.
Okay.
So there's less consequences. It's a lot more just fun. And they're doing a lot of Clone Wars era. It seems to be predominantly either Clone Wars or like between episode 6 and 7. There's a lot of that going on. Like, there's a Poe Dameron before the movie book coming out, and like, so they're filling the gaps in these characters that you probably deserve a bit more time than they got in the movies or the shows and stuff. So the Bad Batch doing their Clone Wars adventures before the show started, where like that's the sequel trilogy they're kind of involved in. There's just questions that need to be answered in the universe, so that's what the adventures were doing. Like, no one's going to die because they're going to be in something later on. So it's kind of that kind of stuff where it's like fun.
And is it the issues more standalone, continuous stories, short stories? You doing like arcs or more?
It's all arcs. So like, it kind of broke up into minis. So like, the first mini I did was Ghost Agents. It was 5 issues, and now I'm starting the new one, Rogue Agents, which is 4 issues. And obviously, it'd just go by probably sales. If they do well, we get more, and if we do bad, we get less. But it seems that the Bad Batch's fan base is so big that the first series did really well, so we were kind of greenlit quite early for a second series. Hopefully that happens again.
Awesome. Are you doing traditional or digital?
Mainly digital. I did 1 page of traditional in the original series, but nice. I might try and fold in more now. I'm a lot more confident doing traditional work, so I kind of fell away from that. But to be honest, the digital work's easier because with lifestyle, you can move about with it and save it, and you don't have to sit at a desk all day. You can have a sofa trip or whatever, or go like Christmas time. I was able to go home to my parents' house and draw on their sofa during Christmas Day and stuff to catch up on deadlines. But that's why I prefer digital, and plus I have a bit more freedom
Mm-hmm.
to make mistakes or correct mistakes, and especially when there's so much reference in the Star Wars stuff,
Yeah.
and there's corrections and stuff. It's easier to do all that when it's digital.
I was talking with Rafa there earlier, and we were talking about the exact same. He was saying like he has a Cintiq. He's currently traveling, so he can go on his iPad.
Yeah.
So flexibility, but then at the same time, serious money to be made with the original artwork. Though that's the other down, because like now that's another consideration. If you have the actual page, it's another income source as well.
I think though there's a. I'm not getting too deep into it. There's contracty stuff with Lucasfilm about selling the original artwork that it's a bit more than just Rafa's Thundercat stuff where you can just sell it there and then. Like there's hoops you need to jump through before selling the original stuff with Lucas, and it's on your contract and stuff. So it's not just as easy as me bringing a portfolio of Star Wars pages to a show and making a clean fortune. Like it's Lucasfilm would have a big part to play in what much money I'd make out of that, and they would get first refusal to stuff. So it's a different ball game. Maybe if I was doing more comic booky superhero stuff, the traditional work would be pulled out more. But at the minute, I'd rather do the work well, do the work fast, than do the work well and then have extra pages that I did traditionally, but I was slower. So I just want to hit the deadlines to keep the editors happy.
Or what we could do is stage a robbery. Sell it on the black market, split the profit.
I mean, they're going to know who it came from originally, so I'm still going to end up in
you were
trouble,
robbed,
like.
You see. This is it. This is why we stage a robbery, you know. And when, how's commissions operate then with you then as well? Did they show more flexibility with that?
Yeah, that's they haven't commissioned me. Lucasfilm haven't commissioned me to draw those commissions. Those are for fans. So it's fan art in a way of them. So like I had, in between Ghost Agents and Rogue Agents, I took plenty of commissions, and I did all the kind of, there's such a big fan base, they were all looking for stuff and there was no original art to sell. That opened up the commission base for me, which kind of filled up a month or two's work with so many commissions that I was able to make a living just on commissions and not drawing interiors. So like I would plan to do samples and stuff in between the Bad Batch series, but because the commissions have been so lucrative, I was able to just continue that, work at a lesser pace and take a breather from it and try and get my stamina back up to go and do another series again after that.
And so who are you working with on Bad Batch? Who's the writer, who's the colorist?
So Michael Marisi is the writer. I just do pencils in the Bad Batch, so I'm working with Elizabeta Di Domenico for inks, and then Michael Ethe, I think I'm saying that right, he's the colorist. So it's a nice creative team. We're continuing. All of us are still going to work together. And then Richard Starking's company, Comic Craft, letters it.
Oh,
so
nice.
Tyler Smith's the guy we work with. He does some really cool shit with the letters. So the whole creative team's coming back again. But we have Riley Rossmo's variant cover artist now for this series. So one extra person in the creative team that we didn't have for the original one. But no, everything's gone well. Everyone's happy working together. So
have you had any retreats, general Zoom calls, anything? Guys, everyone just an email thread.
I met Elizabeta and I met Valeria, the cover artist, at New York last year. Before I even released, I was only a couple of pages into the series. So I built up a friendship with them from being at New York. So I would talk to those two more than I would talk to like Michael Marisi or our colorist, Michael. Just because I know them now face to face, but there's no Zoom calls with editorial. There's none of that. Everything's done through email. We have a chain of emails, and if anybody wants to say their piece, they can do it in the email chain. But it's never been too much of an issue.
Yeah, it must make it easier with the different time zones and stuff.
Yeah, because like Lucasfilm or like Dark Horse, like 7 p.m. here in Ireland's 9 a.m. over there with them. So by the time they're getting into the office, I'm just ending my day, or I'm getting finished up. So they'll ask for stuff, and it's tomorrow's job then because I'm finishing off today's work. But no, it works out all right because when the deadlines come, you have a little bit longer than you have like another half a day to do something before they're waking up and looking for anything. So it's been good.
That's awesome. It's crazy. In the last couple of days, people have been telling me they have meetings in America on a Sunday. I'm like, why is everyone working Sundays? I can understand Saturdays, but now it's like the weekend. It's all fiction now.
They would handle all that. So like Spencer, my editor, would be doing the meetings with Lucasfilm. So he handles all that stuff. So we just have to be, they're kind of like the creative problem solvers or the middlemen for all that. So we don't have to worry about that. And then they'll just kind of relay notes to me then through like a PDF with notes for what I need to do or what I need to change. So there's no need for me to communicate to Lucasfilm. when we have like a middle person who's doing a great job at it.
And what's the work day then like for you? Like, do you keep strict studio hours? Do you work from home? Do you have a off site?
So no, I work from home. I have a spare bedroom, but I still work a day job. So I work 3 days a week in another job. So the way it works is, on a perfect world, I'd work from like 6 a.m. to 5, and that would do me or whatever. But the way it's going at the minute is, I'll get up at 6 a.m. and I'll draw. And it depends if I'm working from home and I don't have to go to the other job. I'll just draw the page is done, probably 7 p.m. or something. And then the days where I'm in the other job is, I'll get up at 6, work until whatever time the shift starts, go do the work in that other job, and then come back and finish off what I was doing then at night, which will make it a 7-day job in the end up, rather than a 5-day week, where you'd rather work a 5-day week. But I mean, these are the price we have to pay at the start to kind of make it a full-time job.
This is it. Like, it's something where it's like, when you're doing something you love, the extra hours you put in, you like, but it's also ways after a while.
No, it's fine. It is fine. Like, people do complain, and I understand it is a hard life, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's something I've wanted to do, and it's something I knew I'd have to do. So I'm fine to do the work. It doesn't bother me too much.
And when working on it, any standout characters you really enjoyed doing, or anything you got to contribute in terms of original designs?
Yeah, so like, I'm really excited about what's coming up next in the new series. Like, I got to design a whole new group of characters, and they're going to be pretty cool. And it's kind of cool just adding to the Star Wars canon. But out of the Bad Batch, like, Hunter's my favorite, so I enjoy drawing him. I enjoy drawing them all, but Hunter and Crosshair are the two I like to draw the most.
Awesome. And how have the Star Wars, you're saying great reception from the Star Wars fan community, how have they been reaching out to you? Like, is it just resharing your work? Have you been hopping on fan podcasts, stuff like that?
No, it's more like Twitter. They're all kind of commenting the Twitter threads, and they'll reach out and make TikToks and stuff, and you just talk about how they feel about the series. And a lot of them just girls that like love how the characters are drawn and stuff. So it's a lot of just like kind of being tagged and whatever they're feeling about it and all. So it's grand to look and get a good laugh at some of the stuff that's being said about, drawings that I just made of a couple of guys. Like,
do you think there'd be an opportunity to visit like Lucasfilm or any studios?
I can't see it. If it happened, it'd be great. Like, take me to Galaxy's Edge tomorrow, and I'm glad to go there. But if it happens, it happens. I have no real it's not something I've even thought about. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if it was offered, or like if there's a movie or something being shot and I was offered to go see it, it's not really what you think a comic book artist would be getting to do anyway. So I don't really expect any of that stuff, but if it can, it'd be a real happy bonus to do all that. So like, we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it's it's good. And how have you been finding, like, have you gone back, watched shows as well? Have you been, and anything that's been sparking, which you might pause and then look at a particular?
Yeah, it's a shame that when you go to try and screenshot in Disney Plus, your screenshot becomes a black screen for copyright stuff. Because there's so much stuff that I would love to just like have on my iPad that I can look at all the time. But I've seen the Bad Batch a fair few times, like on rewatches now, and I've watched a lot of Clone Wars. So like, I'll just make mental notes of what I like. Yeah. But I like look at how other artists would like interpret the Star Wars universe in comics, and see how like the artwork that other guys have been doing better than me are doing it, so that I can try and implement some of that style into my own work.
And what's some of the bucket list dream projects that you would like to tee up for yourself in the future?
I would love to do a long stint at Marvel. Preferably Moon Knight or Venom or Spider-Man. That's kind of where I'd like to be. So that's where I'd be trying to like gear my career towards. Like, I love drawing Star Wars stuff, but there's a Marvel itch I want to scratch, and I've got to work for Marvel for a couple of years, like on a lengthy enough like work run. That's where I'd be happy.
Very good. Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, let's see if any questions on the floor. Looks like it.
Like, how much work would you get done in
a week?
Like,
it depends on the deadline. So like 5 or 6 pages on a good week. Like, there's a deadline for issue 2, the Bad Batch, where they needed it all done in like 17 days. So I did like 10 pages that one week, and then 10 pages of work. So I just had to like, it was a real hustle. So like issue 2 and 3 had to be done before Christmas. So that was like 40 pages in like 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So it was put the head down. No, I didn't finish it in that time. I was lucky enough that Lucasfilm closed on the 20th of December for Christmas, so I gained about 5 or 6 extra days till they back open in the new year. So when they came back, the work was done, the issue was done. So I got to gain myself a few days, but I had to work Christmas Day and Boxing Day to get there. But it's all right. I did a couple hours in the morning and chipped away at a page, but I gave myself the easier pages on those days and planned it out a bit better and gave myself the harder pages before and after Christmas when I had a bit more energy. But like these are the prices we have to pay, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Day is a long enough day anyway. You might as well do something with it.
Do you listen to the Rob Liefeld podcast?
Here and there, if it doesn't, I have my own thoughts about Rob. So I do listen to it. I used to listen to it a lot more. Sometimes I decide not to listen to it anymore.
It was interesting. The reason for because I heard it, and he's saying he likes to draw a comic page every Christmas morning. That's something he likes to do for himself onto it as well. It's funny, just as you were saying, it's the only other time I heard someone who are drawing on Christmas if they could avoid it. But no, it's brilliant talking with you. What are you reading at the moment yourself, just for leisure and recreation?
Always been reading Jed McKay's Moon Knight. That's probably my favorite book currently on the shelf. So I've been reading that for a couple of years now. Ultimate Spider-Man's pretty good as well. Those would be the ones I would take out of my time to go and read. Ultimate Wolverine's pretty good too, but I'm addicted to Alessandro Capuccio, the artist's work. He was on Moon Knight before he was on that. So depending on who the artist is, I'll try and pick up their work, and I'll make time to read the people that inspire me. Mm-hmm. But like there's books I have and I haven't even read in a long time, and I'm trying to always carve out some time to do some reading. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't always like the work comes first. So you have a stack of comics that are building up, but you're not getting any chance to read them. I mean, I'm not too bad, but those are the books I try and push for on a regular basis.
They're wrapping up Ultimates, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's ending up at Christmas or something like that.
Yeah. I've appreciated the real time. It's impressive they were able to pull that one off. Good planning on that part. But no, this has been great. I'll let you get back to Artist Alley. If folks want to find out and follow you, where would be the best channels?
Instagram is at Reese Hannigan Art, and then I think it's at Reese Han Art on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So like I'm posting regularly on both.
Okay.
That's a bit more conversational stuff on Twitter. And then on Instagram, it's just a lot of the art. It's the same posts that are going on both anyway, but there's a bit more communication going on the Instagram or on the Twitter.
Awesome. Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks again.
Thanks
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Many thanks again to Reese for joining me in today's episode. He had asked me if this episode would also go out on the Word Balloon Network like episode 1. I'm afraid not, Reese. You're just stuck with me, I'm afraid, this time. But maybe next time we'll get John to re-air the episode, or you'll be on John solo. But my many thanks again for everyone who's been joining us at these live shows at Dublin Comic Con. Be sure to keep an eye out for us. We have the designated room, Liffey Level 1 for the past going on, I'll say, 3 years now. It's been a great opportunity. And thanks to you, the listener. If this is your first time checking out Creator and Conversation, I invite you to subscribe to our podcast and to the YouTube page. And if you can, please consider checking out TASQ.com, in which you learn more about Tala Academy Sequential Art, Ireland's premier academy dedicated to comic book creation. Until next time, this has been a copyright production of Macaulay Consultancy 2025.